Welcome to the Temasek Polytechnic Sports Gymnasium. In this video, we will introduce to you the basics of gym training to allow you to use the gym safely and effectively. The gym has been divided into different areas according to the type of training you would require. We have a cardiovascular area for cardiovascular fitness, a lifestyle area for general health and wellness, a functional training area for body weight and functional training exercises, a stretch and rehabilitation area for stretching and rehabilitation exercises, and lastly, a strength and performance area for strength and conditioning work. When combined and used correctly, this is the perfect range of equipment to achieve your fitness goals. Cardiovascular training is any exercise that elevates the heart rate for an extended period of time. Cardiovascular training increases body energy levels, increases metabolism, lowers cholesterol levels, improves brain function and sleep patterns. In resistance training, the targeted muscle has to contract against an external load. The muscles recover and adapt to resistance training through an improvement in endurance, which refers to the time it takes to fatigue, hypertrophy, which refers to an increase in muscle mass, strength, which refers to the ability to generate maximum force, and power, which refers to explosiveness. Other benefits include increased strength of the body's supporting structures such as the tendons, bones, and ligaments, improved muscle tone and appearance, improved cardiovascular fitness, and a lowered risk of injury attributed to a stronger supporting structure. The external load used can be in the form of free weights, stack weight machines, or other resistance equipment that uses your own body weight. One of the most common training principles used in planning a workout is the FITT principle. The FITT principle is a set of rules that helps you to plan a workout routine to cater to your goals and fitness levels. FITT refers to frequency, intensity, time, and type. This allows you to train with purpose and direction, ensuring maximum benefits from your workouts. Frequency refers to how often you train. This will determine the number of training sessions. It is important to take note that more training is not better and would lead to overtraining. Intensity refers to how hard you train during exercise. Intensity is measured by the weight of the load lifted during resistance training or the heart rate in cardiovascular training. The intensity for resistance training is based on percentages of your 1 repetition max, which is the maximum amount of load you can lift for 1 repetition. By using different percentages of the 1 repetition max, we will be able to identify the load and intensity required for the different types of resistance training. The intensity for cardiovascular training is measured using the maximum heart rate. The maximum heart rate is the fastest your heart will beat in 1 minute. Different cardiovascular training zones will require different percentages of the maximum heart rate. You can calculate your maximum heart rate by taking 220 minus your age. Time refers to either the duration of exercise or the duration of rest in between exercises. The duration of rest will depend on the intensity of exercise. Exercise that demands more effort would require longer rest times. This is to allow sufficient recovery before going for the next set. Type refers to the mode of training required to achieve your goal. Examples of resistance trainings are the free weights, the stack weight, and body weight. Examples of cardiovascular training are stair climbing, cycling, rowing, and sprints. There are 4 phases of resistance training: endurance phase, the hypertrophy phase, the strength phase, and the power phase. The next video will demonstrate the FITT principle being applied to the different phases of resistance training. Beginners will start off with endurance training and eventually move on to higher intensities. The goal in muscular endurance is to increase the ability of the muscle to lift an object repeatedly without getting tired. Endurance training should be done at least 3 to 5 times a week. The weight will be lifted 10 to 25 times at less than 70% of your 1 repetition max. This should be repeated for 2 to 4 sets with 30 to 60 seconds of rest time in between. Following the muscular endurance phase will be hypertrophy training. The goal is to increase muscle mass and should be done at least 3 to 5 times a week. The weight will be lifted between 8 to 12 times at 70 to 85% of your 1 repetition max. This should be repeated for 1 to 3 sets with 1 to 2 minutes of rest time in between. The next phase would be to build strength. The goal is to get stronger and increase the maximum force generated by the muscle. Strength training should be done at least 3 to 5 times a week. The weight will be lifted between 1 to 8 times at 80 to 100% of your 1 repetition max. This should be repeated for 2 to 6 sets with 2 to 3 minutes of rest time in between. The last phase in resistance training is to build power. The goal is to build explosiveness or generate maximum force as fast as possible. Power training should be done at least 3 to 5 times a week. The weight will be lifted explosively between 3 to 6 times at 0 to 60% of your 1 repetition max. This should be repeated for 3 to 6 sets, with 3 to 5 minutes of rest time in between. There are 4 training zones in cardiovascular training. The zones are the fat burn training zone, the aerobic endurance training zone, the anaerobic threshold training zone, and the maximum performance training zone. The next video will demonstrate the FITT principle being applied to the different zones of cardiovascular training. A beginner will start at a lower intensity to promote fat loss and to be gradually introduced into cardiovascular training. For such training to be effective, it should be completed 3 to 5 times a week at 50 to 60% of your maximum heart rate for a duration of 20 minutes or more. The goal of aerobic fitness training is to build up stamina. For such training to be effective, it should be completed 3 to 5 times a week at 60 to 75% of your maximum heart rate for a duration of 20 minutes or more. The aim of anaerobic threshold training is to increase resistance against lactate accumulation. Lactate is the chemical compound that slows you down during exercise. Anaerobic threshold training will allow you to run at a fast pace for a longer duration. For such training to be effective, it should be completed 3 to 5 times a week at 80 to 85% of your maximum heart rate for a duration of 2 to 10 minutes per bout. Maximum performance training will be the highest intensity in cardiovascular training. This allows you to perform more explosively. For such training to be effective, it should be completed 3 to 5 times a week at 85 to 100% of your maximum heart rate for less than 5 minutes per bout. The training guidelines are to be followed before, during, and after exercise to ensure safety and efficiency of workouts as well as the proper use of the facility. Before any exercise, ensure that you have no health conditions or injury. Do not train when unwell. Perform a thorough warm-up to increase the body temperature and to prepare muscles for physical activity. It is recommended to incorporate dynamic stretching, which is a progressive and controlled stretch that serves to warm the muscles and joints. Ballistic stretching can be incorporated during warm-up. This type of stretch is done in an uncontrolled and bouncing motion to stretch the muscle beyond its normal range of motion. However, it is important to note that this type of stretching should not be done at the start of warm-up, when the muscles are cold, as it increases the risk of injury. It is recommended to do a thorough cool-down after exercise to bring your body temperature and muscle to its resting condition. Perform static stretching during cool-down as it serves to relax and elongate muscles. This form of stretching can be done by simply holding the target muscle for 10 to 30 seconds repeatedly. Do not attempt to lift a weight you cannot handle. Any weight that affects your form is too heavy and should not be attempted. Use a spotter when attempting any challenging weight. The spotter should guide you through the motion and assist you when necessary. Be aware of potential hazards on the ground. Clear away any obstacles that may pose an injury risk. During exercise, form is crucial in engaging the correct muscles, as well as minimizing the risk of injury. To ensure a correct posture, Maintain a neutral spine at all times. This can be done by keeping the head and trunk aligned, tucking in the abdomen, and bringing the chest up. Adopt a proper breathing technique during exercise. Exhale during exertion and inhale during relaxation. Holding your breath during exercise will increase your blood pressure and should be avoided. Ensure a full range of motion to allow the working muscles to stretch and contract maximally. It is recommended to adopt a certain exercise order during your workout. You should begin working out your bigger muscle groups before your smaller muscle groups. Bigger muscle groups such as the chest, back, shoulders, and legs will engage more muscles and bring the most benefit. Beginning your workout with smaller muscle groups will lead to earlier fatigue and will hinder your ability of the bigger muscles to work. You can alternate upper body exercises with lower body exercises. This exercise order will allow one muscle group to rest while working on the other. This will prevent excessive soreness from using the same muscle group consecutively. You can also alternate between pushing and pulling exercise. Pushing exercises such as the push-up works your chest and triceps, while pulling exercises work on your back and biceps. When performing a pushing exercise, the muscles involved in the pulling exercise will relax and vice versa. This exercise order will similarly allow one muscle group to rest while working on the other. Be in proper attire and shoes. Always have a towel to wipe off perspiration after use. Ensure that the equipment are returned to their proper places. The layout of equipment can be seen on posters placed around machines throughout the gym. During workout, refrain from unnecessary noise, such as grunting and slamming of weights, as this will affect the quality of training for other gym users. Lastly, do not hog the equipment. Practice sharing and be considerate when using the gym. This is the end of Gym Basics. We hope you have been equipped with the basic knowledge needed to use the gym safely and effectively to meet your training goals. Enjoy your workout.